Well, hey, my name is Scott Pontier. I am the lead pastor for Jamestown Harbor Church. We are about a 3-year-old church, and one of the things that has been so true in our church, and probably yours as well, is we need volunteers. Volunteers are the lifeblood of any church ministry. And today I want to talk about a 6-step process for how we recruit volunteers that does not involve you standing on a stage and begging for people to help. And so here we go. We're going to jump in, and the first step is, believe it or not, before you ever start recruiting volunteers, you need an org chart. You need to understand what are all the positions of volunteers I'm trying to recruit for. So do I need nursery workers? Do I need people holding open doors and greeting people? Do I need small group leaders, youth group leaders? Whatever it is, let's name every single volunteer that I need and what is the amount of volunteers I'm trying to recruit at my church. Second step, after I know the positions I want to know how each of those positions are going to win in their job. So I'm going to create a job description for every role that I have for volunteers. Because when I'm recruiting a volunteer, they also want to know, what does it mean to succeed in the role you're asking me to do? And I want to hand that to them and give it to them. So that's step 2. Step 3 is now I get to the point where I'm going to create a fishing pond. I'm going to write down the names of everybody I know that I can recruit for these positions that are in my org chart. They can be within the church. They can be already volunteering. They can be outside of the church. They can be your neighbors and your family and your friends. When we launched our church, I had a crazy goal to say, I want to have 100 volunteers scheduled in the first 4 months of our church. And we did that by not having 100 people on our launch team, but by leveraging favors, inviting people into the ministry who are not part of the church. But I want to create a list. For some of you, it might be easy to look at your church directory. I tend to go to all my Facebook friends and just look through that list, and I think, who would be great in some of these sort of roles? And that's how I build my fishing pond. And right now, I haven't even asked anybody if we're going to volunteer yet. I'm just creating the system that will help make that happen. And then I move to step number 4. This is where I match and label. So I take my whole fishing pond list, I look at my org chart, and I match them up. Who would be good in what position? And then I label them A, B, or C. A, this is a perfect person for this job. B, I would love to have this person for this job. They might need some help. C, this person might do as a warm body in this role. A, B, or C. Once I've matched, once I've labeled, I smile and I dial. I pick up the phone. I don't send an email. I don't send a text message. I don't stand up on the stage or put anything on the bulletin. I pick up the phone and I have a conversation with a human being. And what I'm doing is I'm working through my A's for every position. And if they all tell me no, I'm working through my B's. And if they all tell me no, I go back and I start the fishing pond over again. I never call the C's. Because why have someone who's just a warm body in there? I repeat the thing over and over again. And so I just keep doing that, and I invite them into the role, and I tell them a little bit about what the job description is, and I say, is there a time we can get together and talk more about this, or would you be interested in saying yes, or even just trying it on for size for a few weeks and seeing what might happen. And the other thing, the 6th step to remember is that as I'm having those conversations, there is never a no. Somebody might be saying no to me, but what I'm asking is, okay, would there be a better role that might be more interesting to you? You don't want to work in the nursery? Can I get you to help set up chairs on a Sunday morning? So that's one way it's never a no. A second way it's never a no is maybe it's just a no for now. And I would say, hey, would it be okay if I call you 6 months from now and put you on my list to call you back and see where you're at then? And that way I've rarely found a person who would say, no, I'm not interested in this role or the other role you have for me, and please never call me again. But that's a way to move through that. And if I get all the way down to the end of that list and I still don't have all the volunteers I need, I go right back to step 3 and I work the process again and again. If you give yourself 2 hours a week of moving through this process, or even leading your team through this process, I guarantee you'll have all the volunteers you need in your church without having to beg from a stage or even put out a bulletin announcement. So hope it helps.